Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. That's on the Eastern time zone, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. And so does Victoria Lee Scott. You know, you can find us on television. We are syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the Newscasters.com. That's the Newscasters.com. Find us on the all the social media sites. I wanted to mention this just in case you get in trouble with your boss. I've been a boss before and I have worked with someone before. I don't want you getting in trouble watching the show. So you have plenty of time to look at reruns, and that's on Facebook.com. And I think I'm going to start getting into TikTok as well. A lot of people are talking to me about TikTok. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel. That's Donna's at donnasedge.com there as well. But again, thank you so much for watching. I have my very good friend Victoria Lee Scott with me right now. She's in good old California. So how's the weather out in Cali?
Fantastic today. It really is. We had a lot of rain and there was a lot of worry, believe it or not, because of all the fires, which left a lot of ash. And then the rains come, what's ever left or what's ever up on the hills that didn't get, it's a mess. So it becomes a mess. But the rains came, the rains went, and not only just us, I was more worried about you guys in the South. It's like, where did that storm come? I mean, this was a heavy duty this week. I was getting like news alerts letting me know that, you know, how many states are on alert going up that eastern seaboard it's called. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Weathers are very interesting to me because I do feel that it's also just another manipulation, however one wants to take it.
I do too, Victoria. And I wondered about that because I'm still concerned about the hurricane that came through North Carolina. How could it jump over Atlanta and that kind of thing? That makes absolutely no sense. I know a lot of that's manufactured. And so there's a lot of Trump folks right here in this area. So what was supposed to happen really didn't. It wasn't as bad. It was bad enough. A lot of folks lost their property, but not like the media said it was going to be. So not so bad. And up in South Carolina where we live, rain mostly rain.
Yeah. But it's just interesting, even the whole landscape. You know, I still, every time I talk to you, I still worry the old cliche when the other shoe is going to drop. I mean, I can't help it. I really can't help it. I was very surprised with Schumer, but I think he was backed into a corner and had to do what he had to do.
Shocker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, you know, political theater at its best. You know, and as we're watching things change, and there is a part of me that's kind of really not, as much as I'd like to say, yeah, make it and wave this big, huge flag. I'm kind of at this stage with trust but verify, to be honest with you. I really am. And I don't know why. That's just what's inside of me. And I don't know if it's, you know, you have to give Donald Trump an incredible amount of credit, because the first time he came in looking to do the right thing. And he was treated the way he was treated pretty badly. And then while the others were running the country, then they really tried to destroy him. And he showed up for every court date. And he went to every rally and greeted every soldier coming home and did everything. And he earned back, you know, the trust, not of just American, those of us that have always stood behind him, but he earned back part of America. That's my point. And he deserved that. And what he spoke of is what we are seeing. It's very interesting to me to watch people label him and call what they're doing so wrong, but yet the cracks are starting to show, Donna. We've talked for years on this. Those that are sitting in those congressional seats and those senatorial seats have been placed there because of diverse equity and inclusion. They have not earned that seat. They do not know the value of that seat. And most of all, they do not know what position they hold in that seat. That's what we're starting to see. And it's about time. Because as you know, and as our audiences know, people have been sitting in seats for way overdue to go home. Go raise your children. I mean, you people have great grandchildren that you haven't spent time with. Not less your own children suffer, but your grandchildren and now your great grandchildren. Go home.
Well, here's the problem.
No, but the thing is, Don, let me just finish here. The reason why they can't go home is because their dirty fingers are in the pie and they can't lose control. They don't have a truth to stand on. And if they did, they would be able to say, hey, and pass it off to the next person. They cannot do that. They have to stay there to protect their own interests. So they, as Maxine Waters says, we don't know what they're going to find. Yeah, it's going to send your corrupt little tails to jail.
Absolutely. And I've seen this happen 2 times in my lifetime, and this is like local area. Okay, so there was a woman who was working as a city clerk in the area where I was living. And she could have retired. She done all. She just wouldn't leave. And so people just kind of questioned, why is she still there? I mean, she's not making that much money as a city clerk. You know what I mean? But boy, she was making the money. What she was doing, she was filtering it, and she was afraid to leave because she knew that once she left, she was going to get caught up with the next person who came in. She knew it. That woman almost retired. Well, some of the new people started getting a little suspicious. You know, like, this doesn't make sense. She's not that much money. You know, and she was getting sick. She was getting up in years and what have you. Sure enough.
She covered it. What do you think Hollywood's fleeing the country? Moving to Ireland and moving everywhere, London. They're going in.
We're good. Are you upset because Rosie went to Ireland?
And then if you to get on social media and try to apologize from another country, you're out of your mind. Hollywood has actually, shot itself in the foot. Bottom line, it is about time. The whole thing, I mean, it is about time that we, the American people, really pull the veil back and look what they've done. Because, they have done some horrible things right in our faces. And then had the nerve to have so much of the media locked up and the politics locked up that they're going to sit there. If you say the sky is blue, and they're like, no, it's green with purple polka dots until you believed it was green with purple polka dots. And half of this country went along with it. Look at that Democratic Party. Look at, you know what? The bottom line is this country should take a good look. And if you want to see exactly how divided we are, look at the president's last speech.
Yeah.
Bingo signs. You didn't stand for anything. Could somebody tell me exactly what do you Democrats stand for? Because every single thing that he spoke of, not one of you showed that you stood for it. So what do you stand for? Apparently nothing we the American people want.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. This is all the women who wore the Pepto-Bismol pink. I mean, it was sickening, but I used to love pink. Now I hate pink. They've destroyed that pink color to me. Okay.
I got a different vision of that.
Women's rights, and we've talked about this several times, and you have especially. And about, okay, you care for women's rights, but you're okay with a man pretending to be a woman playing. And of course, he's going to win when it comes to any kind of physical strength. He will win because he was a loser on the men's team. So he decides he thinks wants to win something. So he goes on the women's team. Stand up for that. Stand up for your women. Stand up for your daughters and your granddaughters, nieces, or whoever.
They can.
Yeah, they want to be the winner.
Yeah, because they corrupted everything that they stand for nothing. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. You've destroyed everything that now you've left a generation with nothing to stand on. These poor kids that choose to use who have been indoctrinated into these, them, they, and those. Now they sound like complete idiots. Have we destroyed them enough? Have we hurt our babies enough? This is my issue. I don't care what they do. It is time for new blood. It is time for young people to step up. Charlie Kirk, you get a round of applause from me, sir. You have went on our college campuses. You have become and you have stood there and spoke the truth without a college education. And it's wrong. It's just not fair. It is not fair to the next generations. And now we sat there and we did this whole diverse and told them every children gets a trophy as long as you participate, you're a winner. No, and then the real world comes and then they're not equipped. So then we just, oh, well, let's open up more vape stores and more this stores and more that. And they can buy it online, have it. Yeah, let's just corrupt them that way. And then after that, let's just destroy their education. Oh, let's just throw a COVID bay in there. So now they don't even have to get dressed. They can just sit on their bed. How much are they going to learn there? Then we're just going to keep pushing them through because there is no child left behind. So we just keep pushing them all through. And now what's happening is we have a bunch of young people that can't afford to do anything. And you tell them, and they want to do, but they want to do it. Mm-hmm. But the reality is they're finding out they can't do it, and that's what's happening.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'm back from the olden days. Okay, I'm back from when I started a job. I didn't think about starting at the top because I wasn't. Didn't have the experience. There are young.
I forged my working papers.
You can't start at the top. You've got to have the experience. You've got to have some knocks and some downs, and you got to have the experience and learn from those experiences. But now when you go with a generation who've not been encouraged to learn from their mistakes, oh, it's okay. We'll just put you in the corner.
But you want to know something, Donna? I don't blame these kids. I'm sorry. I blame my generation. I watched it. I've owned a salon for 30 years. I have watched a few generations grow up. And you know what the problem is they didn't raise their children. They were too busy vacationing, too busy buying this, too busy going out, too busy having their couple social lives, too busy doing all of that. And they made these kids, and they did. They fended for themselves. They did. And they didn't want to hear, and they weren't really a part of. And now all of a sudden we sat them. All right, so why doesn't a child want to drive a car at 16? Well, I'll tell you why a child doesn't. In my generation, you and I, we couldn't wait to get a license to drive.
I was 15. Okay, I got a permit.
Why don't they want to drive? Oh, I'm sorry. Did we take them from the time they were infants and put them in the back seat with a laptop and put movies on and entertain them? Did we sit there then when they went to school, instead of having car conversation, gave them a phone so they can sit there? And now we expect them to step up. No, I'm sorry. We have high schoolers that don't have a signature. Number two, call Uber. I'm in a conversation. No, call Uber. Send me some food. I'm watching a movie. Have the food delivered. No. I'm not blaming our children. I have a daughter that's turning 28. I am not blaming our children. I refuse to. My daughter knew, and she was raised by a good, strong woman. I pay none of my daughter's bill, her phone bill, because we're on the same plan for 20 years. But other than that, I pay nothing. She has a new car. She has rent. I don't pay any. She's never come to me and said, Mom, I need rent money. I'm the one that feels guilty saying, do you need any money? Do you need anything? It's not my point. My point is because I didn't raise a victim, even with all Justin Angel's health issues. I raised a strong, independent person on how to handle her money, how to save her money. The problem is we haven't done that, not for one, but for two generations, Donna. We have two generations that are having a rude awakening. They are just beginning to see the backlash from what has happened. And I don't blame them. But the problem is we've also, the college campuses, we're going to start seeing what we're seeing. You know why? Because we have educated two generations on half of America's history. The world isn't half. The world doesn't run on half. They needed all of it. And we didn't give them all of it. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a price to pay for that. So therefore, you and I are meant to continue doing what we're doing. So those who seek and those who knock will find right answers in right places. That's why I built the Newscasters. We are people who have experience, and I needed a place that we can go safely, even if we disagreed with the former administration. We did, and we stood our ground, and it led to the truth, and here we are. And now it's time to say, well, what can we do to help? Not what's in it for me, but how can I serve?
Yeah, but we've got to get out of all of this. Now, I wanted to ask you a question about Trump's stance on the educational system. Sure. Okay, because and I know you've noticed, if you know anybody who homeschools their kids, these kids are the brightest. These kids are ready for college. They are knocking it out of the park. And you can put me in a room full of 1,000 kids. I'm going to pick out the 10 that are probably homeschooled. They're the most alert. They're ready and they're ready. I'm ready to go. They're 100%. So I hope this happens. I hope he puts this plan is put in place where the states are in control. And I just have to, some of the states I'm concerned with. There has to be, I'm talking a nationwide, they need to take plans from the homeschool parents and see what 100%. They're doing and put that into the educational system.
Still know I'm looking at Annie Eubank to take my channel, take back our school boards. I'm looking for somebody to head up that channel across this country. It's a perfect time and timing.
Do that. Anne Eubank has to have this show.
She's the one. I have her. Tell me why her name is sitting right here this morning. Tell me, as I'm sitting here with you, where that came. I have no. I just looked down and I went, take back our school boards. Oh my goodness, Donna.
She ran for office. She ran for school board and didn't get it. She was the most qualified. The person who could have turned the Alabama.
When was that election?
That was this past election. It was
when
on the Alabama, it was the.
Yeah, but what are we talking, Biden or Trump administration?
Oh, we're talking the Biden administration.
She should run again. America's thoughts are different. She's a fool if she doesn't run again. She's a fool if she doesn't do it again. I want her to have this show. I told you that. This woman has been going around in my head for quite a while. I'm like, and I want to name it, Take Back Our School Boards. He's dismantling it. It's a perfect time to take it back. You've heard me for how many years say a channel. Can I get somebody to step up, please? I mean, I can only do so much.
Anne is the person. Anne is okay. So this is.
I know.
Yeah, but let me tell you what happened to Anne. Okay, she
Yeah.
had it. This girl could have got it, but what happened is that I'm just telling the establishment Republicans are running the state of Alabama. That's what
100%.
happened. The establishment bunch, and I don't trust them. I'd rather be around a Democrat because at least you know where the arrows are coming from. If it's from a stupid Republican that's only.
Hold on, I gotta ask you. Wait a minute. Stop. I did a radio show this morning from a man from Georgia who is promoting the next governor of your state, Burt Jones.
Burt Jones.
That's who's going to run for governor. I just released that on the Donna Fizel show.
In Georgia?
In Georgia, Burt Jones, lieutenant governor, is going to run for governor. I'm releasing this on your show today, Missy.
That is awesome.
Hello.
Rub it in.
Hello.
I've got a mission.
Burt Jones, I'm telling you, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is going to run for governor of Georgia.
I'm just telling you, the governor in Georgia right now could have taken a few stances and he didn't do it.
Well, you know what? I think across the board, we got it. It's like Congress and the Senate. I want people to come up behind you and go, time to go. And the new person sit. Time to go. I would love for Trump to take the Senate, all the ones that have to go, right? put all Americans behind them. And at the same time, we all tap out and in.
Well, I've got to tell you about South Carolina because this is where I live now. And this is where I'll die right here. I love it here. Okay, Lindsey Graham. I will tell you, the people in South Carolina do not like Lindsey Graham.
No, they never know.
They're already running ads on. They're already, and this is not from a Republican. This is not from his opponent.
He stayed there a long time, though, Donna. How long's he been in office there?
Oh God, he's been.
So they keep reelecting him.
The same rambling thing over and over.
So
and over again.
Who keeps reelecting him?
The PACs. The money that's going out there. The money. Okay. So let me give you an idea. Okay. The woman who is governor of the state of Alabama, Everybody calls her Mama Ivy. She's like 100 years old. She's been there forever. She's establishment. She used to be a Democrat, and I think she still is. It was popular. Remember, a few years ago, it began to be popular to run on the Republican because they saw the trend. Okay, you need to be a Republican. If you're going to run for office, that you'll get voted in. You'll be like that hero. Well, this woman is a female version of Joe Biden. She's losing it. I mean, you need to find her. You need to, okay. She wanted everybody she wanted the state of Alabama frozen when COVID hit.
No.
Yeah. She's on the Republican side right there. Supposedly, she's still a Democrat. So only in the past, say, 15, 16 years has she been a Republican. That's only because it was popular to be a Republican. And actually, she was one of those who really didn't get voted in to be governor. What happened is the guy who was the governor had an affair. Well, they got rid of him. Well, guess what? She was the lieutenant governor. She pops in. She didn't even get elected. She was placed there. She was placed there. So you're talking about total corruption in the state of Alabama. Is corrupt.
Wow.
So Will Ainsworth is the lieutenant governor right now. And I feel like they're probably going to have her leave, exit, because she is 200 years old. They're going to have him come in, and they figure if he's in, he's going to, because he's part of it too. So owns a bunch of land and all this kind of stuff. In the area where he's in is where all of the illegals have come in. Yeah, put 2 and 2 together, you're going to come up with 4 if you just halfway use your brain.
Yeah.
Telling people this. Okay, so what's going to happen is Will Ainsworth will be governor. Okay, however, our senator, football coach from Auburn, you know who I'm talking about, Tommy Tuberville.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I think he's thinking about running for governor. I think the state of Alabama would have a better chance if he's the governor. He's not afraid to speak up. The radical left hates his guts because he will actually stand up and say stuff that other people won't say.
Correct.
He's a Trump. He loves Trump, big time Trump. So this is what's going to happen.
That's a good one, though. I mean,
yeah, but Ainsworth is going to have the money. But Tuberville has got the blessing of Trump. So this is going to be a really interesting election.
And that might, the blessing of Trump just might bring the money. I mean, good people want to do good things. I mean, I don't know. But I'm not putting anything past this president to complete. I think he really knows with his beautiful family what's at stake here. You watch him with his grandchildren. He's not pushing them aside. And Elon's child. You know what? And I understand some of it's for the camera, but the bottom line is I've been following Donald Trump from New York for a very, very long time. And I kid you not, I remember Madison Square Garden, they fawned all over him, and then they all turned on him, and then politics did with him. And you know what? I'm sorry, but this country has a breath right here. And I truly believe that we have seen the corruption to the core, and we know it's there. There is nothing going to change. If we, the American people, I'm sorry, it is there and we know it. And now the point is how are we going to clean it up without destroying and separating anymore? I mean, it is just incredible to me how many times I can record a Democrat telling me they're going to cut Social Security and Medicare. How many times must this president stand up and say those are the 2 things he's not going to cut? But you can't move on to greater and better issues when you've got garbage just lingering and floating on top. So I'm sorry that half this country is unsatisfied with his method of doing things, but he gets my full support. We asked him to clean up our government. If Adam Schiff and if Chucky Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters stood in front of us, and the Khalib twins, if they stood in front of us one more time, when we've known what they're doing to our country, and our government made us powerless. They took us, they censored us. No, you know what? There were a few of us, Donna, that knew we were going in the wrong direction. and we were willing to say, I disagree, and you go that way. You go left and go as left as you want, but I'm not going left. This is where I draw my line. Mm-hmm. And I am a constitutionalist. I find fault with the right and the left because that's Victoria, the Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to hold the position that I do because I want to give everybody a platform. But it is amazing to me how many people have come to the Newscasters studio since Donald Trump took office because they feel like their First Amendment rights have been granted. Absolutely. But I do have to tell you, I did a whole promotion for new podcasters, okay? There were a few and only a few. The response was hit verbally down to phone calls, so it wasn't text messaging. So down to the phone calls. But there were a few that said, I went and looked at your site and was so angry and said things. And then I responded back like, I understand that's the whole reason I built this company was also to give you a voice. Mm-hmm. But if you cannot figure out how to have a conversation, and you're going to lose the art of debate, and then you're going to be left with nothing but violence, and that's what you're bringing to the table. I want to thank you so very much, but my offer to you, sir, has been rescinded.
Well, yeah, okay, here's what happened. Okay, respect had been going down the drain anyway in the country. It already had.
Terribly.
But when Nancy Pelosi, when she tore the papers, the State of the Union, when she did that, her and Barack Obama, I'm just telling you, respect went down the tubes. We've got a chance to get respect back again, and we need to get respect back.
Well,
Nancy Pelosi should have been taken out of her position when she did that.
100%. She should have never been allowed in front of the American people to disrespect that office that she held.
That's treason. That's treason.
That is treason, malfeasance, treason. We lost all these words. We don't use them anymore. Mm-hmm. Culpability. That should be a really big one in our government. We don't use those words, but they are still in our government. They are still
in mine in your vocabulary. But when she did that, when she tore up those papers, I would never do that to any document. Folks used to me when Barack Obama was president, people would say, well, what would happen? What would you do if Barack Obama wanted to be on your show? I said, I'd have him on the show.
Me too. Well, let me tell you what I did today. Yeah, why wouldn't we? Let me tell you what I did today. So today, just where you were going with Barack Obama, I did a video on the Newscasters studio, on the news feed, right, on social media. Mm-hmm. I put up a video of Barack Obama, and I wrote the original Doge. And that's what Barack Obama sat in the White House and started saying where he was going to cut government waste. And he went on. And I actually put the post up going, the original Doge. And I put the video up of him. We spend this on this and we spend this on this. And he did. It was like, do not say that this is new. He tried but failed because.
He didn't have the forethought to get it to happen. Okay, let's go into a commercial break. Can you believe over half the show is already over? Over half? Okay, we're going to have to go into a break. When we come back, I want to talk about that a little bit. Let's go a little deeper. We'll be right back, guys.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. Moans Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020. We're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lemonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lemone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lemone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Because of your overwhelming support, our 1488 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing. Including my classic standard MyPillow is only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, or whenever you want to watch. You're not locked into a particular time because you can find us on social media as well. You can find us on television. We are syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and that is through Abundance Television. You can also find the podcast, and we're going ahead and just shoot it out like that for you at the Newscasters studio. It's the newscasters.com. And this lady you see right here with me right now, this beautiful Victoria Lee Scott, and she is making it happen at the Newscasters. I'm not even going to ask anymore because I know why it's popular. It's because people actually have a voice.
Isn't that wonderful? I'm just a girl trying to make it in this world.
Thank you for making that happen, because I no longer feel like a gun is being held in my head and I can't say the truth.
And you know, and it's interesting because you do know, and I'm sure our audience knows, just how hard it has been. And it's frightening to think how much our freedom of speech was taken away. It's frightening to think if the tides did not change where we would be. I mean, let's face it. Let's go back to the frightening thought of how we allowed them to close our churches, how we couldn't even have church service in a parking lot. Mm-hmm. We allowed this. Never again, never again. So I hope they thought they had a good run and filled their little pockets on, on everything that they did, because I don't think America's going to fall for it again. I mean, I think.
And there will be a few that will fall for it. The Victoria.
Isn't it amazing when we always hit a topic how things happen?
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Now I can be talking about how to raise avocados and it won't happen. Absolutely. Okay, so let me ask you about let's talk about the
Yes.
little meeting between Trump and our wonderful JD, our VP, and the little dictator, Zelensky. How do you think that panned out? What are your thoughts about JD and how he handled his part?
I thought I had respect for that man before, but you know why? He's the vice president of the United States, and it is about time that somebody showed standing next to Donald Trump that they have his back, and not on a podium, not at a campaign speech, but somebody in a real live business meeting that stood up, sat up in his chair, pointed his finger, and called out Mr. Zelensky for his disrespect to the presidency of the United States of America and to our president. I was extremely proud that vice president, our vice president, my vice president, stood up and protected our president. It's about time. People have much to say, but what J.D. Vance did was what I expect of gentlemen. What I expect of gentlemen at a business at a meeting that is televised in the highest office of the land with the top people of our country that we, the American people, elected. Number one, showing up in your fatigues was bad enough. Number two, your ridiculous attitude and your arrogance. How dare you? How dare you? Our president and our vice president made me proud to stand behind and stand next to the both of them. I don't care what anybody says. Donald Trump knows how to run this country. And good, bad, and ugly, we should really realize that this is a blessing that we have been given. He knows the bad guys. We don't have somebody that has to go in and play their games. We finally have somebody that can go in and call them out on their game. That's what we've needed. How many years has it been, Donna, where you and I we've campaigned, we've listened to speeches, we've rallied, we've supported, we've donated to those that we thought were good Americans from our communities that we supported and sent to Washington to change the voice so that we, the people, have a voice. And for decades, we have been spending the money, our time, our effort, and energy, sending people there only to find out what they got there. Does a good person turn a bad person good, or does a bad person turn a good person bad? And that's what we found. We found that our country was so rotted that no matter how good a person we sent, the rot was so bad that the bad turned the good against and became bad. Or else, look how many of our good congressmen, let's take it from who are now Trey Dowdy. Let's take it from all the ones that wanted to have a part in government, but saw the corruption, so thought the next best thing would do is to get a voice in media. Mm-hmm. How many of them left Congress and are sitting on media? We got John Brennan and Clapper doing CNN. Are you kidding me?
I've got to ask you a question.
I have to take a breath here. I'm sorry, audience. I apologize, but I'm like a wind-up doll. I'm full of information and I need some place to spew it.
Well, you got it here, but I got to ask you a question. This is going back to Zelensky being at the Capitol, okay, with Trump and with JD. Okay, so I thought this was pretty interesting. Now, in the South, we have a saying, and it's called, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't do that. Do you feel like this little dictator was trying to bite the hand of America through Donald Trump and JD? Was he biting the hands of the people who fed him? Did he think he was going to get somewhere by doing that?
No. Before he sat down, everything was all well and done. Before he sat down, the Democrats had a meeting with Zelensky. And that's where Zelensky changed, because they were showing him, you stay with us and the money that you've been getting all this year, that flow doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. You deal with Trump and it's going to stop. Follow the money. I don't give what anybody says. As far as I'm concerned, something was said to Zelensky somewhere, someplace, somehow, something was said to put him in that state of mind for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Well, he was a total moron to do that because Trump is the great. I mean,
but if your hands are so dirty and you're backed into a corner, I'm sorry. The lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils. Once again, if he's backed into a corner, come on, are you serious?
Okay, this is something I know. Okay, Donald Trump is a great negotiator, but let me tell you something about thugs. And that's what all of these crazy Democrats and some stupid Republicans are, is nothing but thugs. Thugs, when it comes down to watch a crime movie, where it's got the daddy of the group. He will use a person and he will shoot them when the very second he doesn't need them anymore. They'll wind up with 10 blocks to their feet down in the bottom of the ocean. Why do these people never figure that out? Do you think that these Democrats are going to continue helping Zelensky? They can't, because they don't have the power to do it.
I understand that, but they also can't figure out a way how to stop their corruption and not get caught with their dirty little fingers in the pie. Bottom line, if you keep it moving, they feel safe. Once it stops, they're going to be like cockroaches, like turning a light on. They're going to scatter. I mean, it's coming. And you want to know something? I got me some popcorn right here, Donna. It's coming. I'm popping some popcorn.
I'm ready. I want plenty of salt on it, though. Okay.
Me too. Plenty salt.
Garlic salt's good. Okay, so let me ask you another question. Okay, because before we've always had bumbling vice presidents. They were stupid. They were like second bananas. I mean, they were just a figurehead. They're just there. They're doing really nothing but saying stupid things. JD doesn't do that. JD is smart. So some people said, well, Trump didn't say a whole lot. He let JD. I think he was letting JD flex his muscles.
100% I agree.
Okay, because Trump's got to be dodging bullets every single day. I mean, he has to. So Trump's letting JD flex his muscles was a smart thing to do, because now they're thinking, ooh, if we get rid of Trump, now we got JD. Because JD. And
the reason why they always had bumbling vice presidents, because it was easier to just control one and not two. So that's why, you know what I'm saying? They didn't even care seriously. Vice president, they didn't need to control Joe, Kamala.
You can't be dumber than Dan Quayle was. I mean, except for Biden. Yeah. And I mean, that's why
Biden was, and Kamala, they're all in that same pool as far as I'm concerned. But with JD, this is what America needs. America needs young, smart, and actually men of courage, men of stamina, men of, gentlemen, men who are men. We have allowed our government to change our country in a way that does not represent who we really are. How dare you disgrace for every person that has fought? How dare you, disregard everything that has been done from the beginning in order so that this country can celebrate its 250th year. You think that's by coincidence that Trump is in the White House on the 250th anniversary of American history? It couldn't be more perfect. Mm-hmm. And it's what it is sooner or later, because we are under the grace of God. And you know what? The Lord will continue to allow human beings to turn to him against evil. It is good against evil, bottom line. Doesn't matter to me. But there is something when people choose to listen to that still small voice that we all have, that conscience that says, maybe not. If we start leading by example and hold people accountable, you want to do something like that, you're going to pay the price. You must be held accountable. And until we do that, we are not going to have respect for authority. And we need to get back to that. We need to get back to that. I saw a video, and it's about time that it made its headway back again. And that was on January 6th when they were going into the Capitol. And you had 6 fully armed, guns loaded, masked military of our government standing there, and one guy in a mega hat runs up to them and says, "Why aren't you doing anything? This is our country. It is your job." And they stood there while this man went on. And it was like, if we would have seen, are you serious? That's what's got to change. If you give us the truth, America is smart, but you can't raise generations on half of this country's history. You can't expect it to function at its finest and at its best with people that are doing half measures, because as you would know as well as I do, half measures avail us nothing. And that's where we came to. We came with the end of the Biden administration. Are you serious? Look what they did to our country. Look what they did to our babies, our children. Look what they're doing to our education system. Just everything. It has to stop. And I am so grateful that I have what I have. And I knew when people, oh, that radio thing, yeah, well, you can't compete. Who are you? Media, CBS. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. All I know is there's something in me that just says, you know, Justin Angel, when she was a little girl, there was a song. And it had to do, I think, with Christmas and making the toys. And I'll never forget it because I still use it to this day. And it was, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking. And that song always stays in my mind. And if we get back to that, if we start hearing the truth and we start asking ourselves, how do we feel, and start asking here first. Everybody wants to be a part of something, but you can't be a part of unless you have a part to bring, because nobody wants your part.
Something else that's really interesting. Okay, so and this has been happening for decades. It's not something that just happened under the Biden administration.
Sure.
So the whole thing has been to disrupt the family unit. And I'm going to say something. This is going to shock the heck out of you because I'm a strong woman and you are too. I still say the man needs to be the head of the household.
And you want to know something? You want to know something? Do you want to know that at my age, I have never been married? Do you know why? Because I know the kind of man, and maybe I just haven't met him yet, but I am not, and I will not, I have not ever said, well, I'll just settle for this. It's not what he wanted for me. It's not this passion, this desire, this, my hope, my dream. Donna, I still have a picture of my wedding dress since I was 13 years old. And I knew when I ripped that picture out at 13 that the day I get married, it'll be so long in the future that I'll have to have this dress made. I knew that back then. So I don't give up on anything. Yeah, but my point is,
this is God's way.
But the liberals have made God their government, number one. And number two, you know, they've removed so much of the independent human experience that they taught it. We're all, you know, we're all doing the same thing. We're all alike, but we're not. We're not. And if we recognize what we are as an individual, then we can be that much better no matter what group we want to be in. That's why you and I excel. Because if we go to a gardening group, we can adapt and overcome. We've got something to bring to the table. If we go to a political speech, we can adapt and overcome because we have something to bring to the table. That's my point. You have people that really have nothing to bring to the table. And I'm finding that more and more. If I have one more client say, hey, do you watch this show or do you binge that? I'm like, no. But if you want to talk about Iran, China, and Russia, we can have a discussion.
It's okay for a woman to do that. It's okay. But the natural order of things is the man runs the household.
But I've always been, you know,
the man is the house, the woman runs the household.
But what they forget is that man is supposed to be the protector and the provider. Right. It doesn't necessarily say protection of what and where does the provision come from. Mm-hmm. You see, provider doesn't mean that you just have to fill up my bank account, sir. Provider means is you know my emotions, you know my high points, my low points, you know how to comfort me, you know how to strengthen me. That's a provider. And a protector means, no, you will honor my name as your wife, as your woman. That man, I truly, if I could find a man done that, why do you think God brought me to the South? Okay, because that's how the good men are in the South. The good men, that's what they are. But you know what, for me, I happen to like history. I mean, I could see myself very well living, Scarlett and Tara and, Brett. But I mean, that whole, let's go back to getting dressed for dinner, 5 o'clock cocktails. I want to have a cocktail. I want to be dressed for dinner. There are some things I want, even when I was a child. My father worked so hard and he didn't eat dinner at the dinner table. But I knew that he deserved that respect of his family. And I would wait for my father to come home and I would sit and have dinner while he ate. I would sit with him. And that's when my father, he would always go, words of wisdom. And he would give me his words of wisdom. But I mean, it's the biggest thing the liberals have done, the most damage that they have done, is to remove God and destroy the family. Bottom line. If you do those two things, you will be left with our Democratic Party as it sits today. If you remove God, destroy the family, and I don't care how much they say. Democrats, Planned Parenthood, all this is not good, not right, it's not good. And I hope, I hope that in time, people will understand that this isn't the first time. If people would go back and stop being just New Testament Christians, the Old Testament speaks of exactly these times. What happened? Is it any different right now in the Old Testament? Excuse me, but is there any different when the Jews were taken out of Jerusalem and taken to Babylon? Is it any different when Babylon fell and they were brought back to Jerusalem to rebuild? Is it any different today, our rebuilding of our country, as to what was put on their plate in the rebuilding of the country? So it really isn't any different as far as history is repeating itself, is my point. And there is a lot to be learned, by our history. And that's what I really want more than anything, is I want people like you and I, and people that do what we do, to share their strength, their hope, and their experiences, because that's real history. And that's what we want. We want real history. I don't want, I have a friend of a friend of a friend who told me this. And, I get more women going, so have you tried this diet and that diet and this diet? It's like, no, just eat right. It's the same thing. Just give us the truth. Give us the truth.
Eat 2 cookies instead of 10.
2 tablespoons of Haagen-Dazs, not a half a pint.
You can still eat ice cream. You can. What the problem is we haven't learned how to change habits.
And you want to know something? It's one of the biggest things.
When you return.
But it is one of the biggest things that Christ preaches, though, Donna. Christ says when anything in our lives become a habit, when we recognize that it is now a habit, we are asked to stop. Because what he says, stop, even if you're just going to have a prayer in habit. He says to stop doing what you're doing. Go away from it. And then when you come back, you have a new perspective. But that goes for anything. He tells us not to make anything a habit. And people don't realize, because we've lived in these small little boxes that we put ourselves in, that very few of us get out of it or want to hear a different side. We get so locked into listening, and we can't even blame ourselves anymore, Donna. Just look at social media. If you go on social media and let's say you see a pair of shoes you like, and you just click those shoes, do you know for the next 2 weeks you're going to have nothing but shoes come across your ad, across your page? That's my point. That's my point. My point is that we have to individually create our own boundaries. And here's what I can say. Create the world around you by the means of the world within you. Instead of everybody just trying to live somebody. How many people as a bodybuilder? Well, what do you eat? I want to look like you. What do you eat? I'm like, it doesn't matter what I eat or what I work out. What I do isn't going to work for you. What does it not make
different DNA? You have different
Does
everything.
that not make sense?
None of that makes any sense whatsoever. I
It's
mean,
because
okay,
instant
this is
gratification.
what happens. Okay, I've seen this happen a million times. Okay, Phil and I have moved to South Carolina. We have a house and we're designing it our way. Okay.
Right.
I'm getting ideas on HGTV, but let me tell you something. I don't even go by their trends. I go by what Donna and Phil like. Okay, so we have this house. It was built in the 60s. It's almost 3,000 square feet. It's a tri-level house. And the downstairs part of it is where the studio is going to be. It's not ready yet, but anyway, we're getting there. So we're looking at the popcorn ceilings. And Phil said, well, do you have a problem with the popcorn ceiling? And I said, I like popcorn ceiling. I'm not going to let HGTV tell me I don't like it, because the whole thing is about tearing down what you have, spending more money to get it another way because HGTV tells you that that's the trend. I go by Donna's, whatever Donna's trend is. And I'm saying, why do we want to spend the ceiling looks great. I'm looking at it right now. Just because someone tells me, a decorator tells me it's no longer, I happen to like it. And it's not really popcorn. It's kind of this swirly kind of something.
I know what it is. And and that's what's so interesting. And I have to like really encourage you, because people continually, want to put their 2 cents in. And the thing is I don't really pay attention, and it's sad, but I really don't, because it just doesn't make sense. It's not what I want. I mean, I remember when I first got the salon 30 years ago, he came in and painted it, but it wasn't what I wanted. When Lawrence passed, I repainted everything to what I wanted. But I had to wait all those years. I'm not kidding. It's like, thank you for doing all this work, but it's not what I wanted.
But listen to this. Okay, so a fashion or a designer of a house will tell me that you don't want a textured ceiling. Aren't you telling me what I like?
Right.
Why can't Donna think for Donna? Why do I want to spend $5,000 more to have all the ceilings redone when I'm perfectly happy with the way they are?
Well, let's put it this way. From the 60s and the 20s and the 30s, look at old structures and everything. Well, why don't you come to my house or my neighborhood? Because you know what they did? These 2, 3, 5 million, $17 million homes, they're just square boxes. That's it. That's it. There is no landscape because I guess the drought, so everything is cactus and rocks. So there isn't anything pretty. But all these homes, because they don't have any land to do anything pretty this way, they just go like this. And they're all modern boxes. You don't see any crown molding. You don't see any caricature. I mean, to the house. And I know a lot of my friends have beautiful houses, but I have a girlfriend. I love her to death. And her husband spent years building her this gorgeous house in Newport Beach. And let me tell you, the first time I went there, though it's gorgeous, I thought I was in an office park.
Okay, I don't want to have to count the houses going down the road to see which one is mine because they're all cookie. I just don't want to do that. Okay, girl, we've got less than a minute left in this segment. What do you want to tell everybody before you go?
Now you're
okay. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Victoria, thank you.
I want everybody to go to the newscasters.com. You can email me at Victoria@the-newscasters. I have sponsor spots open. We're looking for sponsorship. I have podcasters open. So come talk to me, chat with me, bring your voice to the Newscasters studio. Donna, I want to thank you so much for always inviting me on. It is my pleasure and honor to be your guest. Thank you.
It's my honor. Absolutely. All right, you hang around after the show. I got to get you planned for next month. Next month's going to be my 20th anniversary of Donna's Edge. 20 20 years. Yay. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Victoria, hang around. We'll get you that set up for next month. You hope you have a really super duper awesome rest of the day. Take care.